Just ahead, an unusually violent weekend in Iowa City with multiple hawk alerts. We'll have the whole story of what happened over the weekend.
And a new residence hall on campus. How the new Catlett residence hall is changing the lifestyles of students in university housing.
We have your final score from Iowa baseball's 6th game in Taiwan against the Czech Republic.
We also have the rest of your Hawkeye recaps from the weekend.
Clouds and sunshine, I'll tell you more in weather.
All that and more coming up.
Daily Iowan TV starts now. Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Noah Gowdy.
And I'm Becca Scadden. Early Sunday morning, a shooting on the pedestrian mall in downtown Iowa City occurred at 1:30 in the morning and resulted in 3 individuals suffering gunshot wounds. 2 men were arrested at the scene. 23-year-old Lamar Wilson will face charges of attempted murder and intimidation with a dangerous weapon. Authorities say he admitted to shooting several rounds directed at pedestrians walking in the area. The second man arrested was 21-year-old Dante Taylor, who will face several charges, including trafficking in stolen weapons and public intoxication. The incident is said to be an act of violence and that it was an isolated incident. Iowa City Police will continue to work with University of Iowa Police to enhance safety downtown and increase their presence in an effort to prevent another incident or escalation.
In a different part of Iowa City, an armed robbery occurred at 2:30 on Sunday morning on East Market Street. According to a hawk alert sent out to the UI students, the 2 suspects were heading north on Lucas Street. The university no longer lists this incident as an active hawk alert, but police say there is no connection between the armed robbery and the shooting on the pedestrian mall.
2 incidents of sexual assault were reported through the hawk alert system this past weekend. University officials responded to a report of a sexual assault that occurred in the early hours of Saturday morning. The altercation occurred at an East Side residence hall. It's believed that the incident was perpetrated by an acquaintance.
Authorities are currently investigating a second attempted sexual assault that was attempted just shortly after 2 on Saturday morning. The attempted assault occurred at the 300 block of East College Street. According to the victim, she was speaking to a male next to an apartment building where he then began to assault her. The victim then began to yell for help, which caused the suspect to flee the scene. The suspect is said to be a 6-foot black male between the ages of 25 and 30. If you have any information about this incident or an incident similar, please contact the Iowa City Police Department at 319-356-5275.
Following the multiple hawk alerts this past weekend, the university sent an email to students regarding the events. They encouraged the community to respect others and take care of each other. A list of several resources was included in the email. The list had a range of contact information from university counseling services to the Women's Resource and Action Center. A comprehensive list of resources can be found on the Office of the Sexual Misconduct Response Coordinator's website.
Melissa Shrivers just wrapped up her first month as the new Vice President of Student Life at the University of Iowa. Her job is to work with administrators on policies that affect the student body. The Daily Iowan had an exclusive interview to speak with her about her plans for the future and what she has done so far. Within her first month, she worked closely with the 4 cultural centers on campus by providing them with new resources. Check dailyiowan.com for all the interview where she'll be able to see what happened. But also, she will also be working alongside the university's Greek system on changing the culture at Iowa after out-of-town formals were banned for Greek organizations. She also continually settles into her new position where she wants to let her parents know that she is creating a safe and inclusive campus for all students, faculty, and staff. Be sure to keep your eye on dailyiowan.com for those interviews and to be able to see everything that we got from her.
Catlett Marketplace, the new dining hall on the east side of campus, is now open and is drawing the attention of students living in the residence halls. Catlett Marketplace can seat 800 people, while its neighbor dining hall, Burge, can seat 1,000 students. Students expressed positive opinions towards Catlett Marketplace over other marketplaces on campus. Jill Irvine, director of university dining, explained that she has not received any complaints regarding overcrowding in the new Catlett Marketplace.
I live in Burge, and I eat Catlett because the food is better quality, and I think it just tastes better.
And I live in Burge, and I eat in Catlett because the food is way tastier. It's nicer in here.
I'm from Burge Hall, and I eat at Catlett because I kind of like the options that it has, the like build your own stuff, and I think it tastes better.
I live in Catlett, and the reason why I prefer food at Catlett over food at Burge is just it's a better quality of food. There's more options to eat.
Well, we had some rain this weekend and sunshine, and it felt pretty nice out, Becca.
Yeah, definitely. The temperature started to cool down and it's starting to finally feel like fall outside. Let's toss it over to Susanna in the weather studio with more on what we can look forward to this week. Susanna?
Thanks, Becca. This week we are expecting partially cloudy skies with the chance of rain and thunderstorms, but those clouds will clear as the weekend approaches. Today we'll see a high of 74 degrees and partially cloudy skies and a low of 59 degrees tonight. Tomorrow those clouds will stick around with the high reaching 79 degrees and a low of 59 degrees. Now let's take a look at our 5-day extended forecast. Wednesday, we'll see some sunshine as the high increases to 82, and we can expect to see the high stay in the mid-80s throughout the rest of the week, with the potential for thunderstorms on Thursday. Sunny skies are expected on Saturday for the first Hawkeye football game of the season, and we'll end the weekend with clear, sunny skies. And we have an update on Hurricane Harvey as it made landfall this weekend in Texas, but it weakened to a tropical storm with 130-mile-per-hour winds, blinding rain, and major flooding in many parts of Texas. FEMA Administrator William Brock Long says recovery will take years. Texas residents are relying on each other and HCSO deputies for evacuation purposes as the flooding worsens and road closures increase. Stay tuned as the Daily Iowan brings you the latest updates with Hurricane Harvey. Noah and Becca, back to you.
Thanks, Susanna. On Tuesday, President Donald Trump will travel to Texas to review the state's efforts for recovery following Hurricane Harvey. While the itinerary for the trip has not been set yet, President Trump is expected to travel away from the most hit areas and to steer away from the storm zone. The president tweeted, "I will be going to Texas soon as that trip can be made without causing disruption. The focus must be life and safety."
In other news with President Trump, Monday morning, the Trump administration is expected to unveil a new plan targeting the controversial program that has allowed law enforcement agencies to use surplus military gear. This new plan would mark the end of an executive order President Barack Obama issued in 2015. President Trump is expected to sign the new executive order Monday morning, while Attorney General Jeff Sessions will address the policy change at the annual Fraternal Order of Police Conference in Nashville.
Senator Bernie Sanders is stopping by Iowa City Thursday night to promote his new book. The book, entitled Bernie Sanders' Guide to Political Revolution, is a continuation of his fight to challenge the political system in the U.S. Sanders became a national figure during the past presidential election. He served in the House of Representatives, been mayor of Vermont's largest city, and is currently the longest-serving independent in the history of Congress. For ticket information, go to hansher.uiowa.edu.
The Conor McGregor vs. Floyd Mayweather fight broke the pay-per-view record with over 5 million purchases. However, this overwhelming number of viewers caused the UFC Fight Pass to crash and delay the fight. Many of the viewers who paid $100 for the fight were outraged by the delay. Showtime was quick to confirm the delay and tried to downplay the length of the delay until the event began. Well, Noah, it seemed like everybody was talking about that fight on campus last week.
Yep, I was sure watching it when it was up, and it was amazing. I really enjoyed it. Let's toss it over to them in the sports studio to find out more.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, Lucy, that fight, really exciting, but a lot more happened in Iowa City this weekend.
Exactly.
But before we jump into all of that, what happened in Iowa City, let's go around the world to see how Iowa baseball did last night. Iowa baseball still over in Taiwan for the University World Games, taking on the Czech Republic in order to advance to play for the gold. Let's start in the bottom of the third. Brett McCleary RBI double scores Tyler Cropley and cuts the Czech lead to 3-2. Later in the third, just then to give up a run in the fourth.
Top of the sixth now, Nick Allgaier strikeouts in relief after just coming back from his Tommy John surgery. He's looking good for the Hawks now. Bottom of the seventh, Chris Whalen hits a 2-run single to give USA a 5-4 lead. Still bottom of the seventh, 2 batters later, and up comes Robert Newstrom, who is already having a solid day with 3 hits. Then he clears the bases with a 3-run double to right center field, giving him his 4th hit and giving Iowa the 8-4 lead. Top of the 8th now, and Zach Daniels will come in for relief. The Czech Republic hits a ground ball to shortstop, and with the fielder's choice, it's a throw to first is late, and Grant Judkins fires home to catch the runner there and come out with the win.
You know, they're going to score runs, and we're going to score runs too. So, you know, the first inning was kind of ugly, but, you know, I knew we were going to fight back. I knew the team knew we were going to fight back and win this one. So that's what we did, and it was a good game.
Bullpen did a great job. Nick Allgaier and Zach Daniels were outstanding. You know, Robert Newstrom had a big day. Chris Whalen finally broke out with a clutch hit late. And Brett McClary had a really nice day. But, you know, to be honest, it was a sloppy game for us, and really very fortunate to be in it, number one, and then win it, number two. And first 3 innings we weren't very good, and you know, we didn't pitch well. We made a couple mistakes defensively. We stranded a ton of runners on base, and you know, but we lived through it, and we'll be playing for a gold medal tomorrow.
The Hawks are able to get out of this one to now advance to play for gold tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. and they will take on either Japan or South Korea. So tune in tomorrow to hopefully hear about some gold medals coming back to Iowa City.
On to Iowa field hockey, the Hawkeyes had the opportunity to take 2 of the top teams in the country. Field hockey opened up their season weekend with the annual Big Ten ACC Challenge on Saturday. The Hawks took on 15th-ranked Wake Forest. The game started off all Demon Deacons, with Wake scoring the first 2 goals. Iowa, though, battled back to tie it up off 2 penalty corner scores from Katie Birch. Unfortunately, that was not enough for the Hawks to win their first game of the season, as Wake took the game 3-2.
On day 2 of the challenge, Iowa took on top-ranked UNC. The Iowa defense stepped up, holding the Tar Heels scoreless until about 15 minutes left in the second half. UNC scored off a penalty corner and then racked up 2 more quick goals, defeating Iowa 3-0.
We've been playing this series for 16 years against Wake and UNC, and it only helps us because we know right away against the toughest competition in the country what we're going to need and what we have to improve upon. So that's the biggest positive is, you know, our sights are set on the Big Ten season and going after a Big Ten championship. So this is a huge learning curve for us.
I think both days the scores don't reflect how good we really are. Just because we lost both days doesn't indicate what the season's going to be, you know. 2 games, but you learn every time you play. So I mean, moving forward, I would definitely say our passes are going to be a lot better. We'll be able to execute in the circle, and we'll play great defense as a whole.
And another fall sport had their home opener this past weekend. On Friday, the Hawkeyes hosted Iowa State, looking to help take home the Cy-Hawk Trophy for the year. The rookie was excited, and so was the crowd. Iowa started off aggressive, getting several chances inside the goalie box, but they could not afford to put a point on the board. The crowd was getting wild up with each shot the Hawks took, as the offense was clicking and momentum was all Iowa's. Skip to the second, though, and Iowa State decides that they want to get an offensive production and do as much as they possibly can, but they can't get past Claire Graves. The 2 teams were trading shot for shot, back and forth towards the end of the game, each looking to put forward the game away. As the players grew restless, every shot looked like it was going to win the game. It was tied 0-0 after the 2 halves, which means we're going into overtime. 5 minutes later, Olivia Feigl decides this game has gone on long enough and scores the game-winning goal and celebrates with her team.
Fast forward to Sunday, Iowa hosts Notre Dame, and it's all Fighting Irish. They controlled the pace of the game, and the Irish scored the first goal of the game off the corner kick. Just 45 seconds later, Iowa commits a penalty in the box, and Notre Dame scores on the ensuing penalty kick. The team was frustrated, and it was a rough game for the Hawks. Although Iowa had their chances, Notre Dame won 2-0.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back tomorrow.